Point 7 Light FM. It's Mariah Carey singing a love song to her baby. You can sing a love song to your financial investments if you know what's going on. Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation. It's time to check in and find out what's going on with your money on Wall Street this morning with the good auspices and assistance of Philip Statler from Statler Financial Services in downtown Sebring. Philip, good morning. It was kind of a bloodbath yesterday, wasn't it?
It was, Dave. It was a lot of red ink. And right now, it is mostly red ink this morning. The Dow has flipped and decided it's going to go huge green this morning. I'm not sure there must be one stock that's driving that thing up today.
And that's a weird index. I mean, Boeing has a bad day, and all of a sudden the Dow falls like a rock, and it can happen to any of the 30 stocks, depending upon the math. But overall, yesterday, it was just a crapola day. The Dow was down 1.2%, down 621 points. Standard & Poor's down 56. That's 0.75%, so that's no fun either. And the NASDAQ fell 240 points. That's about 0.9%. The Russell joined in and actually had the biggest percentage loss of the batch, down 1.3%. You and I were kind of noodling it through before we went on the air with the economic reports that we've gotten. Good news on the private sector employment, and generally things being quiet otherwise on the economic front. It's got to be the fact that we're throwing rocks at Iran again, and it's becoming painfully obvious we ain't going to get a settlement anytime soon, are we?
It doesn't look like it, Dave. I mean, it just seems to be, painfully continuing to go on. And, who knows when it's going to end, and who knows when the volatility is going to stop.
And the other part of it, too, is, on the other side of the fence, the House of Representatives passed a war powers resolution yesterday saying, get out. Well, I mean, okay, one could make a valid case for it being an ill-considered military action, but just cutting the cord right now and getting out means Iran's going to control the Strait of Hormuz and charge ransom to get people through it, and they've still got their uranium, and all we did is hack them off, which is kind of not necessarily the right time to leave. So there really isn't an answer right now, and if I were an investor throwing money around, I'd be a little nervous too, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it is a little nerve-wracking, especially because the markets have continually butted, up against some highs. And, you always wonder what's going to put us into correction territory. And who knows, right? A couple extra bombs gets thrown here or there, and before you know it, you'll be in correction territory.
And that is something you and I have talked about before, that you never know what's going to kick off another correction. Okay, we went through one when we started throwing rocks over there, and then we climbed back up into nosebleed territory on all of the indexes. But you and I both have been confused as to why we've been trading the multiples up as high as we have been. Granted, the earnings reports have been by and large good, but still the multiples are still way up there. And it's when you get that high, it doesn't take a lot to make somebody say, whoopsie, push the sell button, does it?
It does not. It does not take much at all. And, that's what we have to be cognizant of and be aware of and watchful of.
Absolutely. First week of the month, we get a slew of employment reports. Yesterday, we had a pleasant surprise with a multi-month record in terms of new jobs added in the private sector. Today, we find out the other side of the fence, and that's the unemployment claim numbers. And while they're up above expectations, still 225,000 first-time unemployment claims last week still sounds to me like a properly functioning and maybe even a little warm employment market as far as layoffs are concerned. We're kind of getting that picture painted again that with all of the other challenges we've got, looking at inflation, our employment market is relatively healthy and relatively stable, right?
It definitely seems to be that way, Dave. I mean, we've not seen any major jobless claims increases. They've been staying in that, that low 200,000 number, which is, like you said, historically, that is a really low number.
It absolutely is. And, every time we get a big report out of one of the big tech companies laying off 3,000 people or something, evidently, with the notice provisions they've got in state laws out there on the left coast, they're able to find jobs to replace it because those numbers have never been reflected on the unemployment rate.
No, they have not. Not those big layoffs that we've seen announced
It
anyway.
it's been intriguing to say the least. So we've got that mixed picture on the economy, upset on the international front, inflation not under control, but we're still hanging on to our jobs adequately. It's going to make tomorrow kind of interesting when we get the really big number, the total jobs added according to the government, plus that. I still say it's fictitious, but still it becomes a reference point. The national unemployment rate, that all comes out at 8:30 tomorrow morning, and I got to believe that a surprise one way or the other is going to make a difference on the markets, assuming nothing major happens over in the Middle East.
Yeah, oh, I would think so. I'm looking at black. This thing came across my ticker that I found. We talked yesterday about how private equity is limiting redemptions again,
Mm-hmm.
and now Blackstone and their flagship private equity fund is said they have a 10% request for redemptions. Um, and so there's a lot of stuff that people aren't going to be able to get all that money because they're limited to 5% of what they own in redemption. So again, we see another private equity company that's getting hit with a lot of redemptions.
Absolutely. Is that an absolute dollar amount or just a percentage amount?
It's a percentage of what people own, 5% of the shares. So it's a share value, not I mean
Ah,
it's a number of shares, not a value.
okay. I was wondering if I rolled my car over and I needed to get something out of my IRA in a hurry, if I might be restricted.
You would be based on the number of shares.
That doesn't sound like fun whatsoever. I better drive safely. Tidbits out this morning, and I don't intend to drive unsafely. So, tidbits out this morning talking about layoffs. Uber announced this morning that they're laying off 23% of their HR and workplace staff. I flippantly said when we were talking about that on the phone, yeah, we're going to still have all the drivers. They just don't know where they're supposed to go or be able to settle up a disagreement with the company. Huh?
Well, yeah, HR, that's hiring people, and
Yep.
that's yeah, you would think you would need those people around unless I guess maybe they're not hiring any more people. They're just managing the people they have. Um, but again, that would definitely lend itself to the labor market.
It absolutely would. Once again, it'll find out whether or not it's actually going to be reflected in the unemployment claims as time goes on. The other thing that hit my eye was that SpaceX has announced what they hope to seek for their IPO. $135 a share for that $75 billion IPO. I gather it's supposed to drop on June 12th. Do I have that date right?
I've not seen the date, but the valuation, Dave, is
Mm-hmm.
is 1.77 trillion at that rate.
Good Lord. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're selling $75 billion worth of stock, from what I understand. But, yeah, 1 point something trillion in value. We had that mentioned from one of the big brokerage houses. No, Morningstar said it. They were saying they think that the evaluation they're putting on that IPO is about double what the company's really worth.
Yeah, I thought
That's
that's
not
funny. But you're right. June 12th is its debut on the NASDAQ.
okay. Sounds good. We do have a few reports out, and I was kind of surprised to hear this because it's one of the grand old names, not quite in the Magnificent Seven, but Broadcom, I gather, had kind of an off quarter, I gather, huh?
Broadcom did. They missed on earning. I mean, not on earnings. They missed on revenue. They did beat on earnings by 4 cents a share at $2.44. But a slight miss on revenue had them trading down substantially, down almost 15% this morning. Um, they said that that's the first time that they missed on revenue since December of 2024, I think. So,
Wow.
yeah, so it's been a
And
few quarters.
it's one of the very, very few in the chips and parts sector of the high-tech industry that didn't have just a gangbuster report this year. I mean, the big Magnificent Seven that are consumers of all of the AI product, yeah, they got slammed for all the money they're spending, but the people they're spending the money on, by and large, they've had great reports so far this year in tech.
They have, but this is, Broadcom's one of those things, you get the flu, it spreads, right? So it's
Yep.
spreading across the board. Micron Technologies down almost 6%, Super Microcomputer down 6.3, Advanced Micro Devices down 3.5. So everybody's kind of caught that bug.
You get a sector problem when one hits it, doesn't it? Don't you?
You do, Dave. You do. I've
Oh,
got
boy.
some retail, and I don't have the actual earnings numbers. Everybody's talking about their current quarter expectations, and it's just not living up to what everybody thinks it should be. Five Below, for example, um, provided better than expected outlook for their revenue for the second quarter, um, but they're getting beat up this morning. They're down like 11% earlier this
Ooh.
morning. Petco, same thing. They Now their quarter forecast was a little less than expected for their expectations, but again, Petco down like almost 13%.
I got to buy another cat dish and help those poor birds out. They got problems. How can you not survive on pet food? What else have we got?
So we got the likes of PVH, which is Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, that company. Um, Again, kind of retail related, right? Their full year, they reiterated their full year guidance, meaning they think they're on track for it. They beat earnings for Q1. Revenue was in line with expectations, so they didn't beat on earnings. And so, I mean, you would think they'd be doing okay, that would be sufficient, but they're trading down right now, Dave, 24%.
Holy crud.
Yeah.
That's the kind of a percentage I'd expect to hear a bankruptcy announcement preceding or something, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, though their stock price is still sitting at 74 even after that getting beat up like that.
That's tanking. One more before we summarize things.
So let's see. I've got where did it go? It was CrowdStrike is down this morning again because of lackluster guidance for the second quarter. Um, has them down about 10.25% this morning.
Oh, Lordy. Well, let's reset the table here. Yesterday was losses on the major indexes that you can almost call a major sell-off. When you start talking about 620 points down on the Dow, yeah, that's a major sell-off. 45 minutes before we open this morning, what are we looking at?
Well, the Dow's trying to get its money back. It's up $533 right now. That's a little over 1%. The S&P 500 is down 0.2%. The Nasdaq 100 is down 1%. That's like $308. And then the Russell 2000 is actually up 0.3% this morning. So it's kind of a mixed bag on that side. When we look at the commodity side, silver's up 1.5%, as well as gold. And then crude oil is down 3.5% right now, $92.65 a barrel.
Keep on going. Once we get under 90, everybody starts feeling optimistic again. Across the ponds, the Asian Rim market was responding like our market did yesterday and said, ruh-roh, Iran's not going to be peaceful anytime soon. Mainland Chinese indexes were down by about 0.2%. Some of the other Asian markets were down well over a full percent. Europe in similar humor, just not quite as vociferous about it. I've got a mixed bag, some ups, some downs, but on balance, the average European index off by about 0.33% halfway through their trading day. Getting my retirement stabilized in the face of all this up and down stuff, Instead of taking Dramamine, I need advice. How do I find you to get that advice, Philip?
Hey, then give us a call at 863-382-0037. Love to spend some time with you to make sure that you're on the right path to the retirement you always dreamed of. And then catch the Statler Financial Radio Show this weekend, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk, 7:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM.
And back here again tomorrow morning about the same time with an update and hopefully better news. Have a good day, my friend.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Thank you. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services. Philip Statler.
Hey, folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned. Join us again tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.